Welcome, everybody, to episode 236. I'm burnt out of the Dumb Marks podcast, the best wrestling podcast in all the land. I'm your host today, Donald. Gentlemen, how are you guys this week?
Right there with you. I'm burnt out.
Mhm.
Need to regroup and get this energy back up.
Yes, definitely have to reassess some stuff because I'll
Is
be
that
straight
off
with you
wrestling?
guys.
Is that off wrestling or is that off life?
Yes.
We can say for both. We can say for both. Yeah, and to be straight up with you guys, the title I'm burnt out. I only watch Raw and I watch half of NXT. I was in the middle of NXT and I was like, fuck this. And I didn't watch anything the rest of the week wrestling. I just caught bits and pieces of stuff online and that's it. So if my knowledge ain't here today because of that, it's because I'm burnt out.
I get it, man. I totally get it.
Mhm. All right. All right.
He's just on his phone up there and just doesn't give a shit.
Oh, he's in the
I was
draft
sending
day
out a-
wars.
I was sending out a tweet for everybody to come join us live. So I was actually working for the show, Jagoff. Okay. All right.
Let me check those facts.
Good. Check the facts. Check the facts. I wasn't on there looking at ass like you do in your algorithm. I was actually putting in work for the podcast. Burnt out is a good word for the week. I would say expensive for me. Expensive. I got a new roof this week. So yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah, so please head on over to prowrestlingtees.com/dumbmarkspod and buy some merch. My bank account is missing a lot of zeros. A lot of zeros. Yeah, he might have tacked on. But no, I'm here. Look, WrestleMania weekend led into it's a long. We did Potomania 5, 4 shows in 4 straight days. It was, wrestling continued all throughout the week. The NFL draft started Thursday night, so like
A lot.
I parlayed the NFL into the end of my week. I recapped SmackDown and everything this morning. But yeah, no, I kind of hit the pause button on actually watching wrestling live, starting with the draft Thursday, and so a nice little mental breakdown, much needed pause for the cause in that regards, because burnout overload is definitely one thing. So I'm sure we'll get into it. There was some really good things from the week, some really bad things from this week. Quick hitters. I got a bunch of stuff to pepper you guys with at the end of the show. So yeah, we're here back at it again, live in living color. Yeah, he'll be in Evolve on Wednesday. So Shador may be taken with pick 123 today to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but look, other than that, the UFL is out there. I'm sure Dion can call the Rock and get him a spot immediately. There's a fan control league out there. Like, I don't know what's going on with it, but yeah, it would definitely be interesting to throw and have a discussion about if we did an all wrestling draft, regardless of promotion, all wrestling draft. Who would be that wrestling talent, wrestling superstar that would have a Shador-esque fall through the draft, even though they were comped to be a top 5 pick? Like, because I've never seen this in all my years watching the draft. We've seen people slide, but not
Rounds.
top 5, number 2 or 3 pick to. We're on day 3 and he ain't had his name called yet. So
Yeah, we'll see. All right, we have a big show today. We have our Mount Rushmores and our mushes. We have a game, a little debate this, and we also have TNA predictions as well. So let's jump into this intro topic. So I sent it out to the guys.
Pandering for the hug. Chris pandering for the hug down there.
So I sent out the topic to the guys earlier this week so we get a good discussion on it because a lot of shit that has been going on in wrestling. With The Rock's comments on Pat McAfee show and WWE Unreal premiering this summer, Is it good for business to be destroying the curtain of kayfabe like this?
After the fact, yeah. I enjoyed after the fact.
So how do you want to do? How do you want to break this down? There's a lot of ways to break this down.
Yeah.
Let's go with the Wayne first.
All right. So I don't know if you guys watched the interview on McAfee show on Tuesday. I thought it was apropos that he, decided to come on after the event. Didn't do any promotion prior to the event, for the event, but decided to come on and talk about, creatively what he would have done differently. And I don't need to, I said, hey, sounded a lot like a certain brother out there, and said, hey, we could certainly involve the final boss in the main event, but where do we go from there? What's next? We can always come back to the Soul story. We can always bring Thanos back. It's a multiverse, right? Like, look, man, I get peeling the onion back and seeing creatively how things are done, discussions. Is it good fodder for podcasting and people to talk about? Yes. Will it maybe shine some light as far as like why a decision was actually made and the thought process, and to see it from their shoes inside? Like, could it maybe change your opinion on how a certain booking or storyline played out? Like, those are the things that I'm looking at it. I'm viewing that as the NFL's version of Hard Knocks. People were up in arms about the NFL doing Hard Knocks and this unprecedented access and seeing players being cut and draft boards and talking strategy and GMs and everything else. But people love it and tune in and watch every single season of it. So I think the WWE just kind of took that version of Hard Knocks and, all the other stuff that they give access to anyways, but it's just another piece of content out there to get people talking about the product. And what better way to talk about the product than showing real discussions about creative? It's the one thing that hasn't been out there yet, right? Paul Heyman, I think, kind of summed this up perfectly when he was on McAfee show on Monday, and he said a lot on McAfee show on Monday. But I think it was Michael Cole, or maybe it was Pat himself, that asked him, what do you think about this being out there? And Pat was like, I'm an old school guy, and to me, there's just some things you can't put out there. And Heyman was like, I'm as old school as it gets, but at the same time, it's where the business is at. It's where the business is going. Would I have made the choice to do it? No. But am I going to say, don't put me on that show? No. If they want me in there and I'm talking about stuff and I'm being filmed and everything else, then it is what it is. Like, do I like walking back through the curtain, having a camera immediately in my face after something's done? No. But I know there's going to be a camera immediately in my face when I come back through the curtain, because everything is being filmed all the time. So, like, it's a new era, but I equate it to NFL's Hard Knocks as far as access and what's going to be out there.
Do you think it gets more people interested in being in that position that's not in the business?
So
Yes.
like
us. Okay. You, Steve, you book a lot. Chris, you've always thought about coming to the promotion. We don't wrestle.
Right.
Do you think that opens the door for opportunity for more people like us to get into business and not be a wrestler that transitions into a writer, into a booker, into a producer?
Absolutely. Like, for me, I mean, look, I'm a 5'10" white guy. Like, being a pro wrestler was never going to be in my cards. Like, just wasn't. So, like, ring announcing, referee, like, that's where I would find my niche. So, like, seeing how that plays out and thought process versus the way that I look at wrestling and the way that I book stuff, like, absolutely, I would like to see where that goes. And, I mean, look, the worst thing that can come from it is that they give us this access pass and it's just, hey, Chat GPT, can you set up a WrestleMania 41 card where John Cena is a heel, Cody Rhodes is a good guy, and fill in 12 matches? Like, what are we like? But yeah, I think it will get a whole nother level of creative individuals to look at it and go, okay, this is a career that I didn't think I may be interested in, but yeah, anybody that writes television or movies or anything like that could definitely hop in there. We've seen Freddie Prinze Jr. was a booker for how long? Or, you know what I mean? On the creative team.
Yeah.
Like, a good one has it too.
Yeah. So
I think it'll also open up different eyes too. Just like, you know, we might have talked shit on Total Divas whenever it was first on there, but it brought in a different type of audience and different eyes on the product. And I think that's what this is going to do, being on Netflix. People that might not necessarily want to watch wrestling on Netflix, they might check this out and maybe you'll get them to tune into Raw another day or something else. Paul brought this up the other day on Pat McAfee, and I've heard him bring it up before, and I've heard other people talk about it over the past year. Paul brought up the fact that he thinks that WWE should be nominated for an Emmy at some point. And I think that this might be one of those shows that they're trying to like see if it could get nominated. I don't think there's a lot that they really could get nominated for, but you know, like the reality category or the writing category, I think those are things that could go in there. So I think that is their way of trying to get eyes on certain things. But I've said it for weeks now that it's the kayfabe is dead era, and this week I thought it's going to be a different thing. It's the post kayfabe era to me. So that's where we're going now.
You know what? Also, I like when they're pulling back the curtain is like, take Hogan. You get to see how the wrestlers are with each other behind the scenes. You get to see how they interact. You get to judge them as a person, or not. Well, you get to know who they are as a person and as a wrestler. So you don't have this whole, I built my whole life being a Hulk Hogan fan, and then boom, the hammer drops. And now it's, you hate everything the man ever done.
Well, and it's also like, it's no different than to equate it back to sports in the NFL just because of draft and everything else. But like after the women's triple threat match, there was videos out there, of Bianca and Rhea hugging it out and, checking on each other, making sure everything's good and all that stuff. Like, it's no different than, Ike Taylor and Ed Reed shaking hands after the game, Ravens Steelers. They hate each other's guts for the entire, 4 quarters that they're on the field in between the lines playing out, and plays are being called and everything else. But afterwards, you shake hands, you show respect, you talk, because that, human, like, do I want that in my sports? No, I don't. Like, the hatred is real. I will never give props to a Florida Gator fan in my life, or a Duke fan in my life, or root for either one of those teams in my life. West Virginia will never get any praise from me. It's just not going to happen based on who I root for and who I like. But at the same time, I'm not going to stop watching that team if I see players shaking hands after the game or huddled up exchanging jerseys and all that. Like, it's a different time. It's different eras. Like, it happens. Stuff evolves. You either adapt or die. This is the new way that it's going. So you either adapt with it, like Heyman said, or you get passed by and you're forgotten about. It is what it is. Like,
there you go, Squeeze. And there you go, Squeeze. That was my whole thing about it. I'm cool with them pulling the curtain back and everything, but with the kids, I'm warning you now, if you got kids listening to our show, you might want to turn it off for a couple minutes. But this is like pulling back the curtain and say, hey, Santa Claus is real, the Easter Bunny's real, and all that stuff. And this is quote unquote not happening, but damaging them. So what are they going to think about it, the kids? Because remember, this is the product now that is supposed to be geared towards the kids, not the smart marks or the dumb marks like us.
You know what happens?
Yeah, but
you know what happens? I got told Santa Claus wasn't real. I cried for 2-3 minutes. And then when I had kids, what did I do? Santa Claus is real. Like you play right back into it. Like, all right, I'm 10, 11, 12 years old, and I know that, Jay and Braun Breaker are best friends and ride to matches and everything else. Like, now they hate each other, and they're going to go out. Braun's going after Jay for the title, etc., etc. Like, all right, so what? It is what it like. You're watching the show to watch the show.
What do you do whenever you watch a movie?
Mhm.
It's the same thing, and then like you see the actors doing interviews together. Right? It's no different.
Yeah, you're not going to watch Avengers because Robert Downey Jr. and Josh Brolin go out to have a steak dinner with their Iron Man and Thanos. Like, come on. This is the only form of entertainment where people do this is pro wrestling. And it's like, yo, get over it. It's not the 1940s. It's not the 60s. It's not the 70s. It's a completely different era. Shut up about it.
Most of our life as wrestling fans has been the curtain is peeled back.
Mm-hmm.
So we're used to it. Vince peeled that back, early 90s, I think. And
Hakeem is not really African, and he's not a dream, okay? Like,
the fuck you say?
Kane and Undertaker are not brothers in real life, okay?
My mother told me wrestling was fake long before she told me about Santa, so I spent my whole life defending it still, so, hey.
I think
I learned.
The bigger thing, which I don't know if you guys saw this, but like LaGreca went on rants 2 days in a row because he's LaGreca.
Man, he could kiss my
But the last he went on
ass. Don't worry, I'll talk about him at the end.
He went on Wednesday after The Rock said what he said, and he was talking about like, it's still real for me, and I still want that disbelief and everything else. And Rock replied like, Dave, the business is a complete work. Always has been, always will be. Every aspect of it. Every match, every interview. Please join me, Cody Cena, Brian Gewertz, and the rest of us for our creative discussions so you can expand your perspective. Until then, stop ranting. It's not healthy, my friend. Enjoy the show.
What about Yokozuna? Come on now. You want to talk about a shocker there?
I still feel like it's a work.
I think LaGreca does this as a work. Like,
Oh,
to me, it's not a shoot from LaGreca. That's a work. Like, it's his gimmick.
It's investing in more aspects of the business.
Yeah, like,
Bro,
he's
whatever.
working Dwayne.
Whatever. He's one of the Cody crybabies and all that stuff too. I don't believe shit that come out of his mouth.
Yeah,
just like 47.
Not like would the NFL ever put you into a GM's room and a team's organization as they prepare the draft board and rank players and see who they have slotted where and see who's making the final decision on drafting somebody? No. But at the same time, like, I would watch it if they did it. Like, it might put sports journalists out of business because their hypotheticals and opinions aren't going to matter whenever you see who's really
have no job.
That like, but at the same time, man, it would get watched. It would do numbers. It's just like this is going to be watched and do numbers. It is what it is. Like,
and if it doesn't do numbers, that won't be a season 2.
Never happened.
Seen a lot of that. There you go. Great discussion, guys. That was going out all this week. All right, so let's move into our Mount Rushmores for this week. So let's go around the horn. Chris, your Mount Rushmore this week.
The shirt I'm wearing. I got to give it to Joe Hendry. Dude worked his ass off this week. He did a press conference with TNA, like they did like a press pass hyping up Rebellion, and he went through his schedule this past week. Dude was putting in the Cena schedule all week. Like, he was talking about like all the media appearances he was doing in Vegas. WWE had him doing stuff like at the World and other events, the WrestleCons and things like that, the events that he worked, and working Mania, then doing more conventions, and working NXT, then doing other stuff, working stuff for TNA in California this week. Like, I just got to give it to him. He was high on my list already from his WrestleMania moment and inserting himself into the NXT title picture this week. and I was happy with that. But just him adding everything else of the work that he put in, I got to give it to Joe Hendry for the week.
We touched on this on our recap show on Monday before the Raw after Mania, where the fans were just completely, Joe Hendry got squashed. Oh, TNA, it's a terrible partnership. Oh, WWE buried everybody. Oh, Meltzer's out there. For the 100+ years of pro wrestling, no promotions ever let their champion get squashed. Blah, blah, blah. Stick it up your ass, okay? Stick it up your ass. That's the most promotions TNA's had in its 23 years of existence.
Yeah. They said that on the press call too. Like, if you had told, like, say Jeff and his father when they started TNA that the TNA championship would be on WrestleMania, they wouldn't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one person I would have loved to have heard from this week. Would have been Jeff Jarrett.
I'm sure it'll happen at some point.
Just to hear his thoughts on everything that went down and played out. But, like, again, stick it up your ass, okay? He was arguably the most talked about wrestler
Of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even in the promotion that he wrestled for. I don't know how you view that as being a bad thing. I don't. I like, it makes no logical sense to me.
It's the IWC, man. They can find the opposite reaction that should be for everything.
Yeah.
I would give you like this show is shit and turn it off like you did NXT. That's how we got to deal with the IWC. At some point, you just got to, you know what?
Turn them out.
Watch some ass or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Change out.
Jason, Mount Rushmore.
It's that kind of day, DJ. It's that kind of day.
I give it to WWE for giving 2 solid shows after Mania. Far better than their build. I'll say SmackDown was better than Raw, but both of them kept me thoroughly entertained the whole way through. There's some Mount Rushmores and mushes in there, but overall, 2 solid shows.
Which main event aspect of the shows was better for you? Was it the promo and the reveal of Braun Breaker being a Heyman guy, or was it the TLC tag team main event, which was in-ring wrestling?
Both solid, but I'm gonna go with that TLC match. That was good as hell.
I'm actually surprised you enjoyed that. For as much as you're against like the spots.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't mind the spots in like ladder matches, yeah.
Yeah, because that's for me, that's all that match was.
Yeah.
It was just spots only. Like the end, I love the ending to the match, but like the rest of the match for me, I wasn't all that into it. But really, SmackDown overall, I wasn't as much into, but I did enjoy Raw.
Wade Barrett, I thought, was really good on commentary before the match started last night. He said these are 3 angry teams. Clearly, they didn't make it to WrestleMania 41. They've all got a point to prove. Hate WrestleMania 41, hate management. Like, why is that not on the card?
Exactly.
We talk about
Should have been.
We talked about spots that should have been on the card and taken off, but like if you were going with a TLC match, and I get it, you definitely need something for the shows coming out of Mania, right? You got to carry and continue the hype of the new season and all the buzz that goes on along with it and everything else. But man, like if you would have put that match in front of 60,000 people, like what would the reactions have been to it there? Like,
they would have got a lot bigger reaction.
They could have stole the show on night 1.
Yes, I said, put it on night 1. That definitely would have helped out a lot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't see Zelina winning the U.S. title happening. I mean, I'm bummed because I think Chelsea didn't deserve to get the title taken off of her yet. But I like Zelina, so we'll see where this goes.
For not being on Mania, Chelsea, I'm talking about. For Chelsea not to be on Mania, she pitched to host Mania. That didn't happen. Like nothing, and then you drop the belt. This is not a takeaway from Zelina moment because Zelina has definitely worked to earn that moment, right? You saw how much it meant to her after she won the title. I believe she was 0-5 in title matches prior to last night. Somebody that got fired got brought back. she's definitely come full circle and deserves a moment. But it's just like, all right, what are you doing with Chelsea? And what I think you do with Chelsea is give her the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yeah, bump up.
I'm throwing that out there now. I don't know if she's going to be in the match. I don't know anything. Money in the Bank's a couple months away in July, right? But from a women's angle perspective, that's who I give the Money in the Bank briefcase to, is Chelsea Green.
Give her that pump up.
I'm not angry at that.
Does she deserve a WrestleMania spot? Yeah, but she's, how does Cody say, undesirable to undeniable, whatever? She's undeniable.
Oh yeah, like don't get me wrong. I think she will have plenty of WrestleManias to come, but like, you know, you start looking at things and how they shape out after these two shows for people and where the race starts, right, and who they may be getting behind and everything else, because this is kickoff to WrestleMania 42. Where do you go summer wise, etc., etc.? Like, to me, if you're having her drop the belt, then there's something else planned for her. And that something else, in my opinion, should be Money in the Bank. Because that pop at Money in the Bank for her, yeah.
And if they don't give that to her, then maybe we'll have the Queen of the Ring tournament probably right after that too.
They're not. I saw they're not doing King or Queen of the Ring this year.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah.
So
Steve, your Mount Rushmore.
I had a lot of options for Mount Rushmore and Mushes this week, and it was a coin flip as far as who do I actually finally truly select. But I talked about him on night one. I've talked about him as far as being just my continuous Mount Rushmore of the year. At times on this show, Jacob Fatu for me is Mount Rushmore this week. Him winning the title over LA Knight at WrestleMania, and then last night, if you're wearing a Raiders jersey with a Scully on and you're taking people out, yeah, like you lay out Priest, McIntyre, and Drake, yeah, or LA Knight, excuse me, 40 and slip there. But not only did he do what Jacob does and leave people laying, but his interactions with Solo, like, they've already got me wanting to see them two go at it. It's a hoss on hoss fight. Like, that's where my wheelhouse is. And everything he says on the microphone is truly gold. Like, he can not get any higher, in my opinion, as far as WWE. And I still say he's going to be champ coming out of WrestleMania 42 next year. John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL, was giving him high praise on something to wrestle with this week. I was listening to that this morning as I was driving to go get a haircut on their WrestleMania wrap-up show with him and Conrad. And JBL just said, like, he's everything you want in a pro wrestler. Literally everything. There's nothing he can't do. And he is on fire right now. And they're sending him to Mars, not just to the moon. So I expect a big year from Fatu.
If they do the Fatu and Solo match at SummerSlam, that's worth your price of admission right there.
Oh, absolutely. And I did see Fatu on T's podcast. And yes, and what's the first thing you did with that first WWE check? And he said, paid my rent on time. It's like, but no, I mean, the backstory, everything, and he talked about it, it was like, I was, looking out a jail cell window to looking out of an airplane window going to WrestleMania. Like, you love a good story. And Jacob Fatu, I've been high on him since MLW 6, 7, 8 years ago at this point, right? Like, he just needed the platform because he was always one of the best. And damn it, if he's not putting up a year worth of highlights, I don't know who is as far as first year run goes in WWE.
All right, my Mount Rushmore. I have a 1A and 1B. 1B, Seth Rollins announcing the Bears draft pick at the draft, healing it up. Oh my gosh, gold, solid gold, just killing the Packer fans at every moment they had.
We see where his post wrestling career is going to be in. He's already like he's done the podcast routes. Rich Eisen wants him to come in and host a show when Rich is out when Rich is on vacation. Like he was on Good Morning Football. It's just there. But yeah, that was superb Wrestling 101 heel work last night.
Yes, it was. The laugh, everything. And then him just going through I'm a visionary, I'm a revolutionary, and the fans just getting into it. Seth freaking Rollins. I was like, wrestling and football, it's all right there. It's all at the same level.
Seth Rollins did for the Chicago Bears what Joe Hendry did for TNA last night. That's the most press time the Bears have gotten in the NFL in years.
Surprised he didn't throw that belt down, though. Like, Chicago, that's CM Punk. That belt's trash.
Yeah, his biggest rival is the second son of Chicago, and that's who Rollins roots for. It's tremendous.
And my main Mount Rushmore was Io Sky versus Stephanie Valkyrie. Give me that every single week of the year. And then when Julia and Roxanne came in and was beating them up, and then Mommy came down, that little 5 right there on the main roster, that could be your next core for years to come. I am definitely looking forward to that. But those two give me that match all the time.
As soon as Rhea's music hit, it just felt like Becky Lynch all over again. It's just like, come on.
Oh, let's not. I'm sure she will be coming up there soon.
I like that they did that on both shows. The champs just had a random match just to have a match.
And I, Jade and Tiffany was what it was last night. I was entertained by it. Jade showed her what the fuck power again. Like
that counter.
That cartwheel counter, like
smooth.
She just does things that you don't normally see in ring from a women's wrestler perspective. But yeah,
Yep. So, all right, those are our Mount Rushmores for this week. So let's head into the mushes. Chris, mush.
I'm gonna save mine till we get into the TNA predictions.
Okay. Jason.
I am going with Trick Williams and his little tantrum backstage. If you've ever seen Purple Rain, the Chris is reflecting about his dad dying, and he's down there tearing up the basement. Trick Williams and in high heel Chelsea boots just gave me Prince vibes. It just Prince was more believable in that situation than Trick Williams.
Was he struggling with a box?
I don't know what he was. He was just doing this light shit like, you can't be out here in high heel boots giving a tantrum believable. Like, come on.
Charlie Murphy, the Revolution.
So he makes the same sound whenever you take a drink.
It's like they cut it on air, but then they re-aired it online, and it was just even worse. Like, come on.
we talked about what's next for Trick, right? And like he didn't get called up, but I mean, you look at Tuesday night, and it's like, Oba's definitely surpassed you.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Hendry, who doesn't even work for the company, is a way bigger star. Like Trick was an afterthought in there, and like the way they just discarded him, and then the face-to-face between Hendry and Oba, and I was like, oh, that makes total sense. Like Trick doesn't fit at all right now. And I don't know what's happened, but yeah, he's definitely one of those mysterious cases, and it may just be as simple as what Chris says all the time. It's just an entrance. So we'll see in that regard. But
I don't know if he's like overstayed his welcome in NXT too much, that they just can't think of anything else for him now.
You mean Owen Dar, who's been there for 9 years and all he does is win Heritage Cups?
Yeah.
Literally the only purpose that he has in NXT.
You mean
like
they don't there since 205?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if they don't bring him up, and if he just stays in NXT, like they gotta try something different with him.
I thought they were gonna go with him being the leader of Dark State. Like I really thought that was the route. And that would have been something different.
Mm-hmm.
And, but to have him not win the title and all this, and then Tuesday, it's just like, man, like, all right, where do you go from there? Like,
Jason, I'll piggyback off of yours with my mush. It just seemed like for me as the NXT crowd on Tuesday, they just seemed dead. It was like during the women's tag match, like they were sitting on their hands. Trick and Joe Hendry's entrance, yeah, they were loud, but they weren't loud like they normally are. They were like a bit tamed and everything like that. So just the NXT crowd, just all together. I don't know if they were just dead, they were burned out for the week, like everybody else or something like that.
I was gonna say, like, think about us whenever we got to SmackDown, that Tuesday after WrestleMania, and how dead that we kind of were and just exhausted. I think that's probably what that crowd was like too.
Yeah, it's just the NXT crowd. Steve?
Again, I had a lot of options this week. Becky Lynch was definitely up there. According to Alvarez, we talked about Becky wanting to come back for the right creative. According to Alvarez, Becky's the one that pitched this creative. She wanted to team with Lara, win the titles, drop them the next night, and turn heel on her. That's according to him.
She wanted that WrestleMania payday. That's the creative she wanted.
She pitched creative.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
HPI.
You better be putting Bailey over in the end.
That was, that we talked about that after Mania. Like, not good at all. Any way around it. But that almost made me turn off Raw on Monday night, was seeing them lose the titles and then the heel turn. It's like, this makes no sense. In that regards, the Luca Cristofino and the soap opera that is the Tony D'Angelo, the family with this god awful acting is as a worser to be version of the Godfather is really bad. Like, that was cheeks.
What happened to Luca? That's all.
Yeah,
I saw the rumor going around this week that they're going to call up D'Angelo. Like,
yeah.
Please, not as that character.
That character? No.
Yeah, we're going to the mattresses or what? Stupid. Listen, there's no single Italian in my life, okay, that I have met, and I'm Italian. We've grown up in an area where there's a lot of Italians. Okay, I've seen and been in rooms with like Bob S. Boss Italians, right? Like, never once has the phrase "we're going to the mattresses" ever been uttered. So I don't know what creative writer that was that needs to be on Unreal, but
we'll have to see that when it premieres.
Yeah.
You get 1995 references on a 1995 scripted show. That's all NXT is.
Speaking of 95, that's where my mush of the week comes in. WWE had a dud of a main event, although I loved it coming out of WrestleMania. It was, I wouldn't change anything. I said that previously, but everybody else hated on it, said it was worst ending ever, blah, 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 blah. AEW said, hold my beer. They decided to open the show with two guys that ain't been relevant since 96. Tony Schiavone and Master P.
Master P.
I don't know why
Master
I needed
P.
to hear make them say, nah, 12 times in the opening segment of AEW Dynamite on Wednesday night. I get they're in New Orleans and Master P's from New Orleans. I get that Master P owns House of Glory Wrestling. But the man ain't been relevant since 96. Schiavone ain't been relevant since 96.
There's kids like, who is this?
Guaranteed.
And you had him bring out the ops to congratulate the ops to run a Moxley come in, Death Riders beat down Master P's throwing worse punches than Shane McMahon, to the Young Bucks coming out, to Swerve Strickland coming out, to just
You just bought everybody.
I turned AEW off. Literally, I didn't watch the rest of the show. I turned it off.
You watched more than I did for it.
How do you have the upper hand and you run from Swerve and Omega with a chair and a chain?
bro. And there were some matches on Dynamite that I really wanted to watch.
Shit, no, this is it.
But when Shivani opened the show in his burgundy blazer that was from 85.
You jumped to 95. You jumped to 95.
To introduce the same guy he called out in WCW with the No Limit Soldiers that feuded with Kurt Hennig.
I forgot about that.
To be the very opening segment in 2025 on Dynamite. What are we doing?
Shivani got to go. He needs to just be a backstage person. Like,
And did they bring the tank out?
You overtook WCW. Now you're unreplaceable.
So your moment to take fans away that were disgruntled and that were unhappy and that were pissed off about the biggest show of the year's main event was to run out Tony Schiavone and Master P.
Tune in to this week's Dynamite where we have a surprise.
Oh, after the show, I'm gonna listen to some True.
Come on, man.
Mr.
What are we
Cat.
doing? What are we doing?
No wonder Cody's saying that on Pop Up My Timeline every now and then. Saying make him say
Like, come on, man.
so next year for WrestleMania when they're in New Orleans, Master P's gonna come out. Oh, is that who Cody's gonna get for the tag match?
Hey, at least you'll get the tank down.
But like I said, there was stuff on there that I wanted to watch. Like, and I did go back after reading the recap, and I watched Statlander and Jamie Hayter, which was really good. Brody King and the tag match with Takeshita and Josh Alexander, like that was really good. Like, I just like, bro, what are we doing? Like, you had me turn the channel off.
AEW is gonna AEW. That's all you can say.
And that's literally what it was. Oh, and Stokely showed back up. He's now the agent for FTR, who are the Living Legend Killers, and they took out the Midnight Express again, Ricky Morton. And
It's like the third time for them to get taken out.
Yeah, meanwhile, in January, they just saved them from the Death Riders. So, I mean, hey, that was only a couple months ago, but
Hey, you might as well put them on the roster. Active roster.
You're the Living Legend Killers?
yes, so they're taking out Living Legends.
Isn't the Legend Killer killing legends? Killing living legends?
Look, semantics, Jay. That's just what they're going by right now.
There's Jason's next T-shirt.
Like I said,
Right.
it was what it was. But yeah, I just.
All right. So, there goes our Mount Rushmores and mushes for the week. Please hit the show up. Tell us your mushes and Mount Rushmores for this week. Let's
Yeah,
get into
AEW sickos out there, please. If any is, please hop in the DMs, hop in the mentions. I don't care, but explain to me how that opening segment
help.
made sense to run in 2025. Please.
All right, let's get into these TNA Rebellion predictions.
We can get through this pretty quick. We got 8 matches on the main card, 2 quick matches on the pre-show. First one, the countdown. You got Fatal Influence versus Rosemary, Zaya Brookside, and Lei Ying Lee.
I'm going with the TNA girls here. Fatal Influence is on the verge of a breakup, and that fallout soon to come. But give me the TNA girls.
Yeah, I'm going with the TNA girls too. Fatal Influence is completely falling apart.
Yeah, same reason.
Yeah, I just see it more kick off the countdown, make the fans happy. All right. The only other match on the countdown, we got an open challenge with Elijah versus somebody to be announced. Anybody have any thoughts on who it's going to be?
I don't.
do.
I tried, but I don't.
I do.
Good.
James McChesney.
I thought he was going to give it like a serious,
the eternal battle.
bring the IWC full circle, huh?
Yep.
We're gonna bring out Birdman to open up the act.
They're going to bring out Elias, and then Kevin Owens is going to have a complete meltdown because Elijah is not Elias.
Is Party Peacock still in AEW?
Huh?
Is Dalton Castle still in AEW Ring of Honor, or what's he up to these
I
days?
don't know.
Who knows?
Bring him. Triple threat match.
Triple threat match. Right down here in Elizabeth.
Who'd you say, Jason?
PCO.
Oh, I don't know if they're going to do that.
I'm like that.
For comedic reference, I want to be R-Truth and him come out and just be like, "Welcome to WrestleMania."
That would be hilarious. What about R-Truth going a little heel last night, saying that he's always going to support Cena no matter what, and that he's there for him. All he has to do is call him. I was not expecting that interaction between Cena and Truth. And then him telling Jimmy, "I want to be him when I grow up," and Jimmy Uso,
he's a better world champ.
Bro, you're already grown up. Like,
yeah, he said he's a better world champ. He shot to your brother.
But, yeah, I'm gonna go with Elijah.
I'll go with Elijah. Yeah. I'll go Elijah.
All right, we'll kick things off. I think this is going to kick off the show with the Ultimate X for the X Division Championship. Moose, KC Navarro, Leon Slater, Matt Cardona, Vikingo, and Sidney Akeem.
Moose and Sidney Akeem, a la Scripps, a la
Reggie.
What's his name?
Reggie, yeah.
They had a nice match last week. They're the classic speed versus size, everything else. I don't see Moose losing this, especially with this lineup. Not that this is going to be a bad match, but the only one that I would maybe give some credence to here as a sleeper would be Leon Slater. Like I said, I think he's Javon Evans on steroids, but give me Moose to retain.
Same here, Moose to retain.
Give me the man front and center of WrestleMania Day. Give me El Vikingo.
Oh, Jesus.
Bring the TNA title to Worlds Collide, huh?
Man, you sound like Michael Cole saying AAA.
Everybody was saying AAA.
Yes, they were.
That's exactly what it becomes now.
Until they get that lawsuit.
It'll happen. Yeah, I'd be surprised if Moose drops it here. He's been doing fine with the X Division Championship. All right, we'll move into the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championship. Ash by Elegance versus Metaphor versus Spitfire versus GG and Tatum.
Damn, this is a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would actually do this, but I would love to see Metaphor win this here. Just because of how much they've improved. And we've talked about this partnership and whether or not belts are actually going to change hands, etc. It would be a boost to the TNA tag team division. So my heart says Metaphor, but I'll go with Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance to retain with Shenanigans.
You just put the cut back on Noam Dar. Give me Lash and Jakara. Stable of champions.
Hello, Metaphor reunion.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think of that because
I was surprised it didn't come out.
No, man, I completely forgot about Noam Dar. Just like that. Nah, give me the chance to retain.
Give me Metaphor. The only reason why I'll say it is because Impact's live this upcoming Thursday. So you could get the Rebellion, you could get NXT this week and have them come out on Impact and then do like a rematch or something Thursday and they can drop the belts there. I think the only reason why we don't see any like real championships is just because of the tape delay between TNA and NXT. But with everything being live this week, change it up. Just do something different. All right. Up next, the Rascals and Ace Austin versus the System. And this is where my mush of the week comes in. On Impact this week, the Rascals and Ace Austin said they needed somebody to come out and help them out. Who did they call? Sean Waltman. So he will be in their corner for this event. Thank you, HBK, for calling in a favor to TNA. What the fuck?
You already changed my decision.
That's hate. That's hate.
Like, come on. Like, there's one person I never need to see on my screen ever again. It is that man.
Hate.
Yes.
Hate.
100%. 100%. All day, every day, twice on Sunday.
I guess RVD was booked. I'll go to System.
RVD's still recovering from last Sunday.
Give me the System.
The System.
I wanted to go for the Rascals and Ace Austin, but yeah, the System. All right, go into the International Championship. Steve Macklin versus Eric Young.
You're not going to do a title change right away, Macklin.
No.
Just a quick no-brainer.
Macklin.
Same, yeah. I'd be very surprised if they did that, and it just wouldn't make sense at all.
When was the last time Eric Young was champ?
When Master P was relevant.
I think he was tag champ recently.
Okay.
But like singles champ, it might maybe digital title, but TNA Tag Team Championship, you got the Hardys versus Nick and Ryan Nemeth.
I don't care about brothers fighting brothers. Is this at the Hardy compound? Is this the cinematic match?
They did that on Thursday. I was
so they did the cinematic match and now they're running it back.
It wasn't a match. It was just them at the Hardy compound. So they did all the cinematic shit on Thursday, like to get into their head. But yeah, it's just like I'm surprised they didn't do it as the match. But
I'll go with a title change here. I'll go with the Nemeth brothers.
Is Ryan done with AEW?
Yeah,
His
they're in a
lawsuit's
lawsuit.
still ongoing. Yeah, I'll go with the Nemeth brothers. The Hardys will get their NXT moment, and one last match in WWE and call it a career. It'll happen some point in time this summer.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Nemeth brothers, Hardys were going to get those NXT tag titles.
Nemeth.
Yeah, you didn't turn the Nemeth brothers like completely heel last month for no reason. So, yeah, give them the win on here. The match I'm really looking forward to: Falls Count Anywhere, Santana versus Ali.
This is going to be my match of the night. These two have had a really nice program. I love everything that both of these guys do and are doing currently. I'll go with Santana.
Give me Ali.
Give me Santana.
I'm not sure if this is over yet. Like, I know it's a Falls Count Anywhere match, but I think it might go into Slammiversary. So I'm going to say Ali for the win here and say Santana's win for the big show. All right, Knockouts Championship, Masha versus Tessa.
Tessa. and the IWC will absolutely be ablaze and burn Twitter down when she wins this title.
You didn't bring her back for no reason. Tessa.
We're going to go 4 for 4. Tessa takes it, but Masha's not done. So she can easily get the title back at some point.
Did her and Cora Jade ever go?
Yeah.
They did?
Was that just like on Impact?
Yeah.
Yeah. And last one, triple threat TNA World Championship: Hendry, Kaz, Ethan Page.
Before Ethan got into this, I thought maybe Kazarian might have a legitimate shot at this. Page is here to take the pin.
Yep.
And I'll go Hendry.
Same
to set up a program between Hendry and Page.
I'm okay with that.
Same
Keep Page around.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you take the belt off Henry right now.
No, not coming off of this
No.
last week.
Yeah.
No.
That would be worse. That would be the worst booking decision since Tony Khan opened Dynamite with Master P and Tony Schiavone.
That would be the burial.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised that they took the belt off Joe right now. It just wouldn't make sense. I don't even know if we'll get it taken off at Slammiversary, but we'll have to see what the build up for that is. But yeah, Hendry retains. So, Steve, me and you both think Santana Ali for match of the night?
Yeah, that's who I got.
Give me Ultimate X.
Give me the System versus Rest. Is it Red? What is it? Funhouse?
Rascals and Ace Austin.
You
You're
just
gonna
want to
put
see
Sean. You're gonna put
you just want to
X-Pac
see
in
him.
it.
You just want to see X-Pac. That's it. That's it. You want to see his two little kicks and his little roundhouse kick afterwards. Yeah.
I will say the only other match there that for me I think can absolutely steal the show is Tessa and Masha.
Yeah, agreed.
So don't know if they'll have chemistry, but after what Masha and Jordan Grace has done, she's definitely going to bring it to Tessa, and so yeah, that's the only other one that I would put up there as far as stealing the show. But Santana Ali got me the most invested in both of those guys. I love the way that they work, so I'm going to stick with that.
All right, those are our predictions for TNA Rebellion. Let's jump into this game real quick.
Where'd this list come from?
All right, so this list came from What Culture Wrestling.
What culture?
We gave her Dev, and this is the top 10 greatest wrestling feuds that span multiple promotions. So we have number 10, Bryan Danielson, Nigel McGuinness. 9, Hardys versus Young Bucks. 2, Booker T versus Chris Benoit. 7, Walter versus Tyler Bate. 6, Edge versus Christian. 5, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. 4, Ric Flair, Randy Savage. 3, Masasawa versus Kobashi. 2, Guerrero versus Mysterio. And number 1, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn.
No Hogan Macho?
Hogan Warrior? Hogan Piper? Just Hogan?
Hogan Zeus?
No Hogan period on the list. What number 1 staying?
Yeah, I
don't
mean
have any
Owens
problem with
and
that.
Zayn to me is Danielson and McGuinness, like outside of Ring of Honor, they had one match in AEW. Like
And that's what they based it off of too.
Yeah. And they were saying because of Nigel's commentary against Bryan in AEW, it's like that
Held
doesn't
up.
count.
Yeah, the commentary holds up as a match.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the feud was fantastic in Ring of Honor. That's what made me a fan of Ring of Honor.
Hardy's Young Bucks, I think, even though I hate to say this, they probably need to be bumped up a little bit more.
I see. Yes, for sure. I didn't actually look up Booker T and Chris Benoit, but
like I remember
WCW, they said it was, they said their WCW feud was so good that WWE liked it and just replayed it.
I don't even really remember their WCW feud.
Flair and Savage to me just kind of
yeah. AJ and Samoa Joe would get bumped up for me. That would probably go into number 3 slot.
Eddie and Ray.
That goes ECW, WCW, WWE,
and AAA, I think.
Okay.
I put Walter and Bate in my top 5.
But did you watch Walter and Bate outside of WWE though?
I haven't, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't know about that
But
stuff in the other promotions.
I think it was Defy that they wrestled for over there.
Okay.
Could be wrong on the promotion, but they had some good matches over there.
And you know I'm a for Christian, so he can come off the list altogether.
I saw a thing. Gonna paraphrase real quick. After Cena last night said that he was, he's not a father because he was parenting all the kids. Saw the meme of Christian go. I'm like, oh, so you're saying in December they're gonna need a father?
I almost put Christian on my Mount Rushmore for telling Nick Wayne that he banged his mom after he won the title. That was
I did see that.
that was Father of the Year right there. Tremendous. So
really,
he went
outside of the 10 that are on here, like there's no other matches really that are coming to mind that could replace anything.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, and absolutely nothing.
I mean, if you go back to like the ECW, WCW days, like Guerrero and Malenko, Ray and Psychosis, like to me,
Like
if
all
you're
those.
talking about spanning territories because of what they did obviously in Mexico as well, like I think Ray and Psychosis would be another one. Yeah, I don't.
Has anybody really touched from New Japan and AEW all like that?
Omega and Okada, once All In happens, I think you would then put it up there.
Yeah, you would put it up
list,
there.
but
Yeah, that's why I wasn't up there.
again, it's one match though.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
but
You
to
think
me,
this
that
will
would
be history on one side, then history in the other promotion too.
Like
That's what will count.
you could have Jay White should be up here or Finn should be up here, but I guess you didn't get no real feuds afterwards. Just
Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. There we go.
I mean, Kevin Owens and Sammy, Independence, Ring of Honor, NXT, main roster. Like there's probably even more to put on there, but same with AJ and Samoa Joe. Who knows how many times they've wrestled in like other promotions.
Yeah, to me, this is like a list where number one is like no argument for me. Like that's a stamp of approval.
I think I might keep 1 and 2.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I was going through the list, I was like, okay, number one got to be this, and it was. No other. But all right.
Yeah.
That's the debate this. All right. Any quick hitters?
Yeah, I got some quick hitters to pepper you guys with here. Get your thoughts on this. I'll refrain from commentating my own opinions unless you guys just don't have nothing to say. But so a couple quick hitters here. Double or Nothing is running Sunday, May 25th in Glendale, Arizona, and NXT is running Battleground in Tampa on Sunday, May 25th as well. Thoughts as far as WWE booking a show the same day as AEW?
They're not competition.
It don't matter. You're going to choose who you choose, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Does it affect the buy rate at all?
No, I think AEW already has their niche audience.
Their core people.
It would get like people like us that watch both, and then like, let me see, the one that I already pay for or the one I got to spend money for.
The one that's part of my Comcast bill that's $4.99 or $50. Yeah, I'm going with NXT. So
yeah.
Reportedly, Alberto El Patron has been released by AAA.
I had that. Yeah.
Who didn't see
Anybody
that
shocked? Yeah.
Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor was announced for Friday, September 5th, and then they moved Super Card of Honor from May till Friday, July 11th, so the same weekend as All In.
Makes a lot more sense.
Thoughts there on either one of those shows?
Yeah, the Ring of Honor doesn't need to be running as its own thing, so putting it together with All In makes a lot more sense.
Apparently, it was announced that Jeremy Borash will be involved in AAA's creative side on behalf of WWE, as well as AAA talent being told that they need to start learning English and start working a more American style.
And start calling it AAA.
You need to English. That's American for you, baby.
Mm-hmm.
You sure that memo didn't come down from DC? You know, at a certain place.
And then, lastly, for me, this is one where I thought you guys may give some commentary on here, but PW Insider reported that Kathy Kelly has been working out at the Performance Center, training and doing promos, and potentially going to be put into a managerial role.
Interesting.
Thoughts on that, one, and two, this is the exact same thing that Samantha Irvin was asking for, but they told her no, to where she left the company, but they are letting Kathy Kelly do it. So what's the difference?
I like Kathy Kelly in the spot she's in. Go ahead, Donald. If you
just
want to
saying,
say it, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
What's the difference, Donald? What's the difference?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, when they were saying she was
There's three of us wearing one color today.
I don't know if that's the difference. We're not going to play into those narratives, but I just don't see how or why, unless it's like a thumbs up to Samantha. Hey, this is what you wanted, but since you left, we decided to go here. Like, I don't know why you would see Kathy Kelly being a fit for that role, but not Samantha.
or to stop it from potentially happening again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Giving in. I like Kathy in the spot that she's in right now.
I don't mind her.
We'll see if, see how she would do in that role, but
Yeah. So
I got a couple. I don't know if you guys saw Bailey's quote during her interview with Chris Van Vliet, but describing her, Charlotte, and Becky, she said, "To me, they're up here, and I'm just not there yet." Like the fact that they've destroyed Bailey's confidence when she is so far above. I got the opposite take here. I don't think that's Bailey's confidence. I think that's just Bailey, as Pam. Like she doesn't see herself on that level, even though we all see her on that level. Mm-hmm. That's just like her insecurity. Wouldn't that be? I was gonna say, wouldn't that be a confidence thing though? Like,
but that's not necessarily.
That they've destroyed her confidence in a way of
No, I don't think it's them destroying her confidence. I just think that's how Bailey.
That's how she is.
That's how Bailey is. Like that's not a. That's not a. Oh, I've been through all these ups and downs with the company, and they're the reason why I don't see myself on that level. I just think that that's Bailey saying that. Like she would say the same things about Mercedes. Like she doesn't see her being on Mercedes level. To me, one doesn't play into the other. I just think that's who Pam is as a person.
Dwayne Wade does the same thing with himself when he compares himself to when they compare him to legends. He's like, no, I'm not even on that list, so don't even mention me.
I don't know if I buy it from D Wade, but from Bailey, like, yeah, she had a lot of interesting things that in that interview with Chris Van Vliet. It was really well. It was done well. Van Vliet is excellent at what he does. He gets wrestlers to just open up and talk like most don't whenever they do interviews. Nothing seems forced when it comes to that. But like, I think she even hinted at it in the interview, Chris, where she's like, I'm not the type of person to go in there and kick the door down and say, no, I'm not doing this. This is not me. Why would I do this? Why would my character do this? And that could be viewed as a detriment to her. So like,
there was one instance that she brought up on there of, I go to creative and I ask them, like they ask for feedback and I give them feedback and they just shoot everything down. She goes,
she says, I feel even worse pitching something if it doesn't get picked again. That to me, that's just
Yeah.
her as a person, right? Like, but yeah, I think that the bigger thing that she mentioned on it, which I'm sure WWE it'll come out at some point in time, but her injury was a whole lot worse than what we knew of, which kept her out as long as it did, and she said that she doesn't want to share it at this time. She's still, processing it. But the interesting thing that I thought, she kind of gave some additional information to an interview. She said, like, with Damage Control, she had 5 people pegged for the group. And she wanted them to work while she was still recovering. So, like, even when she came back, she wasn't 100%. Mm-hmm. And even there's times now where she says, like my leg, I just can't do certain things with my leg. Like, it took me really long to realize that I, could run the ropes again, or to even be able to jump again. Like, so, I'm glad to see Bayley back. She deserves everything that she gets. She's definitely a Mount Rushmore for me, as far as this generation of women. But, like, I don't know. Yeah, selfless is very, to her own detriment, like she said herself. I'm not the type.
Tune in next week. It has to do with selflessness.
There we go.
Oh, is that why Charlotte Flair wasn't on the show this week? She was so selfless that she decided not to show up so everybody else could get her, their spot.
Debate this next week. The top 10 Charlotte Flair matches.
I've seen Cody Rhodes doing a promo for Universal Studios. So I take it they're done with AEW.
I guess so. Like, they haven't, outside of the season 1 of, whatever their show was called. I forget what the name of it was, but, like, they haven't done anything outside of just wrestling show stuff wise. Like, so,
I mean, Universal's owned by NBC. So,
okay.
That whole thing.
Because they partnered with WCW. That's where they used to run their shows out of. AEW. It looks like
Ring of Honor and AEW were running there for a bit.
They want to keep in touch with the wrestling business, or stay at least adjacent to it.
Oh, they got a whole new park to show off down there now. So.
Oh, I did want real quick. I wanted to get you guys on this because this was something that I was looking forward to. As far as Mania run times versus wait times, etc. Right. So Saturday and Sunday combined, total wait time, and when I say total wait time, the time from match to match, right? All in all, total 4 hours, 16 minutes, and 13 seconds of just nothing happening, whether it be video packages, etc. Total wrestling time for the 2 nights: 3 hours, 18 minutes, and 40 seconds. I looked at this and then I thought to myself, because I was just at a concert recently, this is no different than the time in between acts at concerts when there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Like there was 3 acts on the concert that I went to, and there was literally 20 to 25 minutes between each act coming out on stage where there was nothing going on. So, like, I know WWE gets killed for it, and there are times where it's overly egregious to where it's like, all right, I think they had 3 matches on Raw and it was 3 hours long. Like,
that's different from Mania. Mania, you have to realize there's so much going on behind the scenes that you have to get ready for next after next. Yeah.
Entrances, props, etc. Like, I get
you
it.
Have your sponsors, you got to get that in.
If you have that issue with Raw and SmackDown, that's just them wanting to run a promo or something.
And then it's different too. Like, if you looked at WrestleMania 1, there was an intermission there because it was match after match after match after match. Then you had your intermission for the people, and then you had your main events. And now it's just like you get the video packages and you get the in between time. That's your bathroom breaks for everybody.
And
Or
it's
you get
no
food
different
or
than,
whatever.
you brought up intermissions. It's no different than going to see a Broadway play or anything. You have
Yep.
That's why it's called Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, right?
Yeah.
Like you have.
I mean, no
Hell,
different
even
than sports.
my niece's dance recitals have an intermission, and those are freaking 4 hours, 5
Yeah.
hours long, and there's time in between each group coming in and out and everything else. Like
It's the same with sports. There's halftime.
So for something like a Mania, I give it grace.
I do too.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, people saying, "Oh, I spent $30,000 on a ticket and only saw 3 hours of wrestling out of a 8.5 hour time frame."
Then you didn't know what you were paying for.
Yep.
Exactly.
You're an influencer that hasn't watched wrestling.
When Meltzer gave Io, Bailey, and Rhea 5 stars. First woman.
Io, Bianca, and Rhea.
Yeah. 5 stars.
Yeah, that was my favorite match of the weekend.
Yeah.
That triple threat. And then the IC 4-way was probably next for me. Like those two matches for me, I loved everything about both of those matches. But I mean, is this a heel turn for Meltzer? Are the AEW fans going to be upset?
Wait for Double or Nothing. All 7-star matches.
That's a starting point.
I just changed the rating.
That's a starting point.
Well, there were no 5-star matches on Dynasty, so he started the heel turn early. Not giving no matches on Dynasty 5 stars.
There wasn't a 5-star match on Dynasty.
Io, Bianca, and Rhea 5 stars. I don't know. Sickos may be crying tears in their. Well, I can't even say beer because who knows, but
to be determined.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you for watching episode 236. I'm burnt out of the Dumb Marks podcast. Always hit us up on our social medias, Dumb Marks Pod. Dumb Marks Pod. Spotify, give us a like, listen, follow, and our merch on prowrestlingtees.com/dumbmarkspod. And the quote of the week is, if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss will gaze into you. So until then, see you next week. And as always, Konnichiwa, Kairi Sane, and fuck Dave Square, which will be Meltzer and LaGreca. Catch you later.